Okay.
Simple enough. Game 3, NBA Finals, Lakers up 2-0 over the Heat. Heat short handicap, and most people assumed that it would probably end up being a sweep based on how the Lakers have played the first 2 games.
Right, no Bam Adebayo in this one. You think
Right.
LeBron and company are going to run away with things, but of course Miami got here by proving people wrong, and they did so again in Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. As Mike said, it just went.
The NBA Finals, LeBron's one of them, Jerry West was the other, but they lost. Jimmy Butler won his game, 115-104. The lead in the series for LA is now 2-1. Now, I mentioned the 40-point triple-doubles, but let's just go overall triple-doubles in the NBA Finals game against LeBron James. Butler now the 4th player to do it. 3 guys from the Warriors did it. He and KD both notched their first career triple-doubles in those games. All 4 players to accomplish this feat led their team to a win in that game against LeBron.
We've got news conferences on the way. We're going to hear from all the stars following Game 3. Miami keeping its season alive, but we're joined by our star, Tim Legler here. I mean, Legs, I'm going through the box score here. 13 assists, 11 rebounds, but 40 points jumps out, and 14 of 20 from the field. What stood out to you about Jimmy Butler, the way he got his baskets?
Yeah, Kevin, you're going to see a gaudy stat line with Jimmy Butler. And if you didn't see the game, you'll look up tomorrow, you'll pull up the box score, and those numbers you just mentioned will jump out. For me, the 2 biggest numbers on that stat sheet are going to be 20 field goal attempts and 14 free throw attempts, because it shows you that he was being aggressive as a scorer. People were asking me before the game, what can the Heat do? They don't have Bam, they don't have Dragic to make this a series. I said it's very simple. Jimmy Butler needs to go for 35 because he has the capability to do it, and he has to turn off that switch sometimes in the first half and think like a scorer. And I thought he did a great job of that, and it sets up his passing later in the game when he plays that way. I thought his mentality in the first half, taking the ball coast to coast, getting to the rim, taking the ball coast to coast for his pull-up mid-range. He was looking to get into the paint and then finish off the plays with a basket, or at least with a shot attempt. And he needs to do that right now because they're so short-handed, and there are so few guys out there right now that can actually create their own offense. So I just loved his approach. I've been screaming for it for 3 games. He finally did it, and he's capable of doing this night in and night out. He really is as a scorer. And then the plays he made late for Olynyk, completely set up by the fact that now the Lakers were taking him seriously as a guy that was looking for his own offense. So he comes off a couple of ball screens, he draws 2 guys with him, and now he makes the plays. So his assist numbers are great too, but none of that is going to be possible if he doesn't put it in the Lakers' heads that he's out there with a different mindset. It's going to be to score, and he creates more help, and now you can make plays for other guys. So I just thought his approach was the way it should be every night for this team. They desperately need him to think this way. It was a monster performance by a guy that was desperate, and he got his team now back in this series. Really incredible.
40 points in, as you said, a must-win. I mean, that's such an overused term, but it was the case for Miami tonight. Legs, how about the mentality to be able to shift, right? I mean, you go from being the scorer that this team needs you to be, to changing up the mindset, to being so unselfish to be the facilitator when you know you have to score for your team. What does that tell you about Jimmy Butler, the player?
Yeah, Jimmy's been one of these guys that, you know, he likes to get to the party when the party needs him, right? And sometimes when you get to the party late, I always say everybody left. So he got to the party early in this one, and he got going aggressively, and now you're going to force different defensive reactions, and you're going to force miscommunications. And here's a great example. You're coming off this high ball screen. KCP and AD are both so concerned about Butler because the way he's been playing and how aggressive he's looking for his own shot. That's how you force mistakes. Now 2 guys jump out, Olynyk with a really nice read and Butler with the great find. And on that first one with the 3-pointers, the same thing. He turns the corner, LeBron is tracking him, but now AD has to react to that at the rim because he has been so good at finishing in this particular game. And instead, he understands Olynyk's going to then replace him at the top. He does a nice jump pass in the air, finds him for a 3. I picked out those 2 plays because that was a key stretch. When the Lakers had cut it to a possession, they actually took the lead at one point, and that was during that stretch in response to that. And again, set up by his mindset tonight. And I just think this is the way he needs to play. He needs to let his team know he is going to be there. And if it means you get 15, 20 in the first half, That's what it's going to take right now, particularly without Dragic and Bam Adebayo, two key guys that create a lot of offense for you. He's the one guy out there that can play like this, Kevin, for that team, and he needs to make it all possible for those role players, and he really did it tonight. Put him on his back.
40, 13, and 11 in an NBA Finals game. The Heat had to win, and they get that win tonight. A signature game for Jimmy Butler, who spoke with our Rachel Nichols following the Game 3 win.
Jimmy, you guys were severely undermanned coming into this game, playing a team with two of the top 5 players in the NBA, and yet you told me before tip-off, I think we have figured something out. How were you able to do this tonight?
We rebounded. That's going to be the key going forward. We got to keep those guys off the boards, limit their second chance points. We got back pretty well. It also helps to make shots, so never get me wrong. But I'm glad we get some people back.
You had a 40-point triple-double tonight in an NBA Finals game. That is the best game of your career so far. What was your mindset throughout every minute?
Win. I don't care about a triple. I don't care about none of that. I really don't. I want to win. We did that. I'm happy with the outcome.
How have you guys reset this series now that it's 2-1?
I think we realized that we belong, that they can't be beat as long as we do what we're supposed to do. But coming the next game, I know they're going to be so much better, and we got to be able to match that energy.
Congratulations, Jimmy Butler.
Appreciate you.
All right, so Miami back in the series. The other side of the story here is the Lakers, right? I mean, no Bam Adebayo, no Goran Dragic, and they played, I thought, sluggish throughout the game. 40-something shots from the bench. Is it too democratic at times with the Lakers? In other words, did you want to see LeBron James and especially Anthony Davis take over more?
You know, this was one of those nights, Kevin, where I thought the foul trouble Anthony Davis got in really affected his flow and rhythm. And as a result, it affected the Lakers because they've been riding him. And particularly in the first half, he's been so good to start games. And maybe they just were relying upon that because he got...
I haven't seen anything like that from a Miami Heat player. Clearly, you know, just single-handedly since Dwayne Wade in 06, how he just dismantled the Dallas Mavericks when he was averaging 34, 7, 3, and 2. And I think Jimmy Butler just took it upon himself to impose his will on this series and insert this astronomical performance. And I think the guys really followed and just supported him.
I feel like you also have to call out the Lakers in regards to, yes, being up 2-0. LeBron said this in Game 1 in the first quarter when they fell down 13. Remember, they went on that 19-3 run and kind of turned it around, and then from there they went on a 70-35 run. But LeBron said, until we matched their effort and their intensity in the first quarter, we were in big trouble. Same thing happened tonight. The Heat were desperate, as we talked about, and the Lakers did not match it. And they were playing catch-up the entire night, and you got to give the Heat credit. Every time the Lakers caught them, James, they would hit the big shots to go back up 10. The Lakers never looked like they were in rhythm. They struggled to get offense from some of their starters, some of the guys on the bench. Markieff was great. Kuz lit it up. But AD only 15 points. LeBron 23. You know, we know the stats. We give them every night. When those guys combine for 60, the Lakers don't lose. Tonight, they combine for 38.
Yeah, you know, AD getting in foul trouble didn't help. You know, he never got off to a start. Even when he came back in, he hit a few shots, but we didn't see the AD that we had in Game 2. As you look at the turnovers, Geeta, turnover after turnover, 20 turnovers. Miami was able to get 21 opportunity points off of those turnovers. So, you know, foul trouble, not attacking, you know, thinking that you're up 2-0. Just because you're better and you know you're supposed to win doesn't mean anything if you don't go out and do it. So I'm sure they're going to look at this and not going to be happy with it. Because, you know, even though Butler had a great game, you know, they still, you know, found ways to let Miami stay in the game and beat them.
Yeah, I mean, credit Kelly Olynyk with 17 off the bench. Tyler Hero is a rookie, 17 points, who started 1 for 8 in this game, hit some big shots down the stretch. Duncan Robinson, who was not drafted, scoring 13. So they had some big-time performances. And listen, the Lakers fell down a game to Portland, fell down a game to Houston, lost this same game to Denver, and every single time they've had to make an adjustment, and they've done that. Defensively, maybe the Lakers are going to show something different because right now, Jimmy Butler's a problem.
Yeah.
In the one-on-one situation.
Yeah, he's a huge problem, and I think that the Lakers are going to identify that. You're going to send more bodies at him. You're going to build a wall, make it a little difficult for him. But I think that one of the big problems that we have not talked about enough is, you know, a young player like Tyler Hero being in the playoffs for the first time, scoring double figures in every outing, And I think that he's starting to get his confidence. So you do not want a young player to get that type of confidence on this stage where he can go out there and just have these large impacts on the game. So I think the adjustment will be made on his part too.
Yeah, and you just gave them a little bit more confidence. You know, even though they